So the next person, now we're going to bring on Miss Andrea Crum. I'm so excited to have her back. She's a true joy every time we see her. Let's get her on the screen. I can't wait to see her smile. There she is. I love her smile. Every time you smile, Andrea, I like break into this huge grin.
Oh, thank you. That is such a nice compliment. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, and first of all, you two should know each other if you don't already, Susan and Andrea. So Andrea is great, and she is one of the most true entrepreneurs that I have met in the last several years, from the standpoint of her business is her passion. And because it ties into her subject today, tell us what you do, please, Miss Andrea.
So I am the founder of Genuinely You Leadership. It is an organization I started late last year. I had been in corporate for 25 years, worked my way from an intern to a member of the executive team. And one of my big passions in life, what I always thought I would do when I retired one day, which I thought would be much further down in the future, was to work with women's leadership development and really help women through the leadership struggle, because I struggled so much as a leader. So I ended up getting on the path to entrepreneurship a lot sooner than I expected. And so it's been really an amazing journey. And so it's been not even a year yet, but I launched my company, Genuinely You Leadership, back in December. It's all about helping women to lead more genuinely, which is really about leading with your heart and your head. It's about being who you genuinely are and also still getting results for your organization. And so it's really that process that I'm really excited to help women with.
That's awesome. And first of all, I like seeing stuff like that. And I like seeing people that are excited about their work. And I like seeing targeted coaches such as yourself that really understand their demographic, that aren't just general, kind of general coaches. You've done it. You've been an executive. You've been a leader. And in a major organization that has a lot of pressure. So you know what it's like. And you've also now started a company, so you know what that's like. And you, so you really have a lot to offer. And one of the first things I want to ask you about, because I know that you coach these ladies, I know you're helping a lot of job seekers right now, not just employed people. And one of the things that I wanted to ask you about, because I saw this comment the other day and it really hit me wrong. And it was on a LinkedIn post, and it was saying that women can't negotiate as well as men. And it was a woman, by the way, saying this. And she was saying, and women, we still have the wage gap, and if you expect women to negotiate for themselves, it will make the wage gap even bigger because we can't negotiate well.
Okay.
And first of all, I stopped and I thought, well, that's not right, because I know plenty of women that are excellent negotiators. But I think that there's a sense of self-worth that people have, and I do think that maybe there's some interesting room there for discussion. So what is first, Andrea, and then Susan, you look like you definitely have something to say about this. So we'll get your opinion too. But let's start with Andrea. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's interesting. I don't know the intentionality of the post, but my sense is that they might have been talking about the fact that women sometimes can go into these conversations not knowing their worth. And it was funny that you said that, because that was the word I was going to use, and I know Ray just used it a second ago. It's knowing our worth, and sometimes, not all women, but some women, we aren't. We kind of feel like people should tell us what we're worth. And I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing. I'm just saying that happens, and so I think that idea of us kind of understanding what we're worth, understanding our significance. So that's something I talk about a lot, which is all about our value and our worth. It's actually the first step in the genuine leadership journey that I talk about, because if we don't understand our significance, then we can't be the genuine leader we were created to be. Because we won't have those tough conversations, we will kind of sit back instead of stand out. So I can totally understand that rubbing you the wrong way too, going, wait a minute, but there are women out there that do that and do it really well. But I would also say that there's a lot of women who are a little bit afraid of that conversation.
And I will say, as a recruiter, I see a lot of people, and then maybe a little bit more on the women's side, but I see a lot of people that don't know their worth. And I think that that's just a problem that society almost teaches us that you should get it from an outside source, that there should be an external source telling you your worth instead of your internal source. I was not raised that way. I was raised by very confident people and people that taught me that it was imperative that I know my worth because I had to project it to other people, and that's how I would be able to help other people, and I would be able to find my place in the world. So I think that's kind of more what's happening. And I would say I have some advice for that, which is that take the time to get to know yourself. Get to know you, because then once you do, be proud, show that to the world. And whether you're a candidate looking for a job, looking for a promotion, show it to the world. What are your thoughts, Susan?
Well, I come from a similar background in that my parents raised all of us kids to be very independent and to be very confident. And that's like my number one goal for my daughter, is to make sure that she is confident in herself as well. So I think that they've done a good job of that. But it's kind of, I was kind of snickering a little bit when you started talking about the negotiation thing, because it sent me back to a time in my life when I was working in sales for a very large food company. And it wasn't the right fit for me because I was not comfortable pushing back to try and get the close. Oh, you don't want it? Okay, see ya, bye. So that's really one of my weak points. But definitely to what you said, Andrea, in we have to know what our worth is, and it's not all tied up in our job. There is so much more to each one of us, man or woman, in all of the different roles that we play. And you have to keep that in mind, because if you tie your worth to your job and then you lose it, then you're worthless. And that's totally not true. You need to look at the whole self.
Absolutely. 100%. And I think you're right, though. And that's what ends up happening for a lot of people, is if they do lose their job, they do end up feeling that way. And then that spiral continues. So absolutely, 100% agree with both of you.
Yeah, you have to, I think you have to feed your self-worth. You have to remind yourself what you're strong at. So what I do whenever I hit a cycle like that is I start doing things at which I know I excel. Whether it's something, that I can help somebody with, I start doing some more pro bono, and I just go, okay, right. This is why I'm doing it. And it also remotivates me. It re-energizes me. I will take a whole day and go, I'm going to do 10 free resume builds today just to help people out. And it revitalizes me, and it gives me that really good energy. And that's one thing, guys, if you're looking for a job, or if you're just bogged down and trying to figure out your direction professionally, take some time and volunteer your passion. And I guarantee you something fruitful will come out of it, whether it's a new job, whether it's an entrepreneurship opportunity, whether it's the right network that you needed to be in, whatever that is, something will come out of it that's very, very fruitful. So Andrea, with women in the workplace, as we're growing and we're starting to see some really exciting things. I don't know if you guys have been noticing, but more female CEOs. I'm sure you do, Andrea, because I know you read all this stuff. But more CEOs, more presidents, more, and now political candidates. We're finally getting some real traction in politics. Yay! And we're really starting to make our mark. As that is happening, what do you think is the best way for women to stake their claim in that and to kind of move forward? Because I know a lot of women are like, okay, well, this is really great, but what do I do with it? and aside from knowing their worth, what action should they be taking to really stake their claim?
Okay, so what are maybe a couple thoughts here. So one of the things that when we're talking about significance, so one of the things that I talk about as part of significance is that, one, we need to acknowledge our significance. So that means figuring out what it is. That is that kind of process, getting to know yourself, Catherine, I think you said earlier, and getting to know, who you are and what it is you bring and what you brought in the past, making those lists, kind of figuring all that out. It's then to appreciate our significance. So we might sometimes we might know what our significance is, but we might not have appreciated it yet. We might still be looking around at everybody else and going, what is it that they have that I don't have? And I'm trying to make myself better to be more like them. It's about appreciating what we have. And I think the next thing that we really have to do as women is we then need to be able to articulate our significance. We need to put words to the value that we bring. And I think as we begin to start doing that, it's easier for us to stake the claim that you're talking about. It's easier for us to say, this is where I'm going. This is what I know I'm good at. This is where I'm going. This is why you should hire me for this thing that maybe I don't look like the likely candidate for, but because I have all these things that are, like Susan, you said, holistic. It's not just that I've been doing this job. Maybe I've been volunteering over here, or maybe I have this passion and hobby that I've been working on, and I have all these other things that I can bring to the table. But I think it's when you go and do that discovery is when you're going to be able to start staking your claim and have confidence in that. Because I think that's the other part of it. Understanding your significance gives you that confidence. The other thing I want to say that I think is so important about all that is that once you understand your significance, you can start seeing the significance in other people, and you can start tapping into them. Because otherwise we're comparing, or we see people as a threat or whatever else, right? So so that's just another
that's a beautiful thought. And Andrea, that's something that I learned a while back. I had a mentor that taught me that concept, and I have hired people that I specifically trained to be promoted past me when I was still a manager. And because I knew what they could do, I saw it and I went, oh yeah, you need to be doing this over here. I have trained recruiters with the intent of helping them to eventually start their own firm, which is technically competition for me. I don't care. That's just how you properly lead, right? That's how you properly help people grow. So one thing too, kind of on that note, a lot of one thing that's kind of interesting with this whole COVID thing is that there's been this new highlight on our personal lives. Whether it's, I saw your husband in the background, Susan. My husband's walking around the background on a video call or a show, or animals participating in conference calls, like what happens to me all the time, or whatever. There's been this new emphasis, which I find very exciting, on our personal lives, and bringing that more into the workplace, and just going, okay, well, this is just life. This is just what we do. And as mothers, which I am not, by the way, but I think I wanted to talk to you guys about, how would you like to see the workplace evolve to actually incorporate parenthood, not just mothers, because guys too, man, I had a stay-at-home dad, and power to those guys, but to really incorporate parenthood in a successful way that still allows employees to work and be productive and that type of thing. What kinds of things would you guys like to see that would help make that successful?
Susan, do you want to take it first? You want me to go?
I was waiting for you, but I can go.
Okay. You go.
I really do think that it kind of goes back to the word that we've been mentioning for the day, is the flexibility. And I think that now that employers know that working from home can work for most positions, then I think that they need to be open to the idea that, at the minimum, a hybrid solution. As a communicator and someone who works in employee engagement, I fully agree that, those personal human connections at the office are really important to help build and sustain a culture for a company. But part of that culture is also the ability to allow your employees to have their other lives,
right?
Not necessarily work-life balance, but hey, I'm volunteering at the school today. So I'll be out for a couple of hours, or I need to help my kid get to school with their load and instrument. So that flexibility, and just understanding that, we are all human and we all have different needs. So not everybody, if someone doesn't have kids and they aren't married and they can do whatever they want, they need to open their eyes and see the other, what's on the other shoe.
I saw an interesting idea, Andrea, that I would love to get your opinion on it. It was specifically geared towards maternity leave, but this could apply to male or female employees. It was an idea that that maternity leave was just the beginning, and that there should be parental leave for if your child is sick, or if they have a competition that you want to attend, or something like that, because being a parent is obviously the most important job that you can have. I would never, never discredit that. What is your thought on something like that and kind of integrating that into the workplace as well?
I love the idea. I think it is a good progressive idea, and I think it plays into the things that Susan was talking about as well in terms of flexibility. And I think the thing that, came to mind, and it was mentioned a little bit, but it's about seeing the humanity of us all. I think that that's what's been nice about this season is that we're not work robots. We don't just go to work. We so often forget that we're all human. We're flawed, we've got external pressures. Our job is not the only thing that is at play. And so I think it's really nice that we're in a season where people can start to see that and it comes to life a little bit more clearly. And so I love the idea of being progressive and that flexibility, because I think that is going to be what people are going to start demanding in the future. I think they're going to start saying, look, I've enjoyed being at home, but I've also, in having this time, but a lot of people want to get back to work, because the thing too about being at home is the clock doesn't stop. I mean, it's like you don't have this hard stop at 5. So I've seen a lot of women who are actually leaning far more into work in this season than they did in the past, and they don't feel like they have that balance. So I don't know that work from home is the entire answer. I think that hybrid, getting that human connection when you're at work. I mean, I think there's something to be said about all of that, but offering employees the more flexibility is going to be key.
I agree. And I think, guys, again, tying back into, if you're a candidate, negotiate right now. You do have the power. You, believe it or not, these people are desperate. These employers are desperate for you. I said this earlier in the show. Use that, negotiate. One thing though, I am going to tell you, this is my recruiter side coming out to all of my parents. When you're in an interview, first of all, I think it's wonderful when people are excited to be parents. Okay, I do. But I will tell you, one of the top things that I've seen cost somebody an opportunity is to focus an interview on their family. That's not why you're there. You can mention them briefly. That's fine. That's fine. You can mention them, that type of thing. Don't focus on them. That sends the wrong message. Number one, you're not focusing on the opportunity, which is why you're there. You are there about work, okay? And yes, you are also a person and all of that, but you are there for work. The other thing that it does is it sends the message that you are going to, and whether this is correct or not, that at the drop of a hat, you're going to just abandon work to go do something with your family. And the reason that employers think that is that there are those very, very bad apples out there that do that, that just will call in for 3 days to hang out with their kids, or that will, their kid sniffs and so they're gone for a month, So just be aware of that as you're presenting yourself professionally, that you can mention your family, but don't focus on your family in an interview. That's extremely important.
You have to remember that you're there to solve their problems. And if you introduce your family into the equation, that's adding to their problems. So you have to be careful with that. Absolutely.
100%. So kind of the last thing I wanted to ask you about, Andrea, just real quick, is if somebody wants to get hold of you and they say, I need to learn from this lady, she is amazing, which she is, you guys. Everybody, first of all, should connect with her on LinkedIn. We have dropped her profile into the comments. Please do connect with Andrea. But if somebody wants to work with you, what is the best way for them to begin that process?
So the best way is to either connect with me on LinkedIn. The other place that I'm really active is on Instagram. So my handle is Andrea.Crum_, and that's where I do a lot of genuine leadership conversations and talks and all that kind of stuff. And but that's also where you can find my email, and you can email me from there. So that will be the best place to go. And also, just very exciting, I'm launching a new TV show called Girl Talk on Streaming Network. And it's all about helping women to lead more genuinely. So that's happening in September. So definitely follow me so you can see that, because that's where genuine leadership comes to life. And it's real people talking about their successes and their struggles. And I think it'll be really helpful to people.
That's so wonderful. And congratulations on your new show. I'm very, very excited for you. And welcome to the world of being on a show. It's stressful, but it's fun.
I'm starting to figure that out.
If you ever need to call me and just have margaritas over the phone, we can do that.
Sounds like a good plan. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Bye. We'll talk to you.
Bye.
Thank you, I'm sure.